Okay, we are now on to the next step, which is adding titles, or adding lower thirds is another name for the type of titles we're doing. So again, just to recap, you should now have 5 clips, no audio, 7 seconds long, and a transition in between every clip. If you've got that, you're now ready to add the titles. Over here on the left under Content Library, click on Titles. You'll see a variety of pre-made title templates that you can use. For our project, any of the lower thirds will get you points. And again, this is all or nothing. You either did this right and you had 0 typos, or you didn't. So make sure you don't have spelling. I have little tolerance for typos, because if you put a show on TV and there's a typo, you lose your job. So it's something you need to learn to spell correctly. Look it up if you need to. What I always do when I make videos, when I make titles, I look up how to spell it if I don't know. I double and triple check it myself, and then I get a second set of eyes. I get a friend or I get a colleague to come look at the video and read the title and make sure I don't have a typo. That's what I do to ensure it, because I've done projects where I've got it all the way finished and I'm about to put it on TV and found a typo and had to go redo everything, and it's hours of work to fix it. So you want to make sure your typos are that you have no typos. Okay, so what I mean by a lower third, or a title needing to be a lower third, is this one, for example. That title is not a lower third. The title, that's a centered title. That's not what you want for this project. So I'll delete that. Lower thirds are ones like this. The one titled Standard Lower Third, that's a lower third. It means that the title and maybe the subtitle are on the bottom third of the screen. Sometimes they're left justified, sometimes they're centered like this, and sometimes they're right justified like this one. Okay? But they're always on the lower third of the screen. That's why they're called a lower third. So we'll use lower thirds whenever we label people. If you interview a person and you're saying who they are, we use a lower third for that. So choose whatever lower third you want. I'm going to choose one that's kind of goofy, just for kicks. This one called Clouds down here. Choose whichever lower third you want. Click and drag it to the first clip, and we'll add that as a little purple box above the clip. And you'll see this one's animated. It comes in and it flashes around. Okay. So I now need to select that purple box, double click it, and then up here you can see that my text editor now appears. I can now edit what this says, and I can now manipulate the text, colors, and different things like that up here. The font size, all those goodies. So select the name. The name should be clip 1. And the description, also known as a subtitle, should be overexposed or overexposure. Overexposed or overexposure are both correct. Nothing else is not, and they are not 2 words. So for typos' sake, for not having typos' sake, make sure that overexposed is spelt like you see here, and it's 1 word. Overexposure would also be correct, but also 1 word. So I've now typed my lower third incorrectly. Now notice over here on my title, in my sequence, the purple box, it says it's 1.8 seconds long. I want it to be 3 seconds long. So I click and drag the end of it until it's exactly 3 seconds long. Okay. Now I have my lower third that's on here. What just happened? I messed it up somehow. Probably because I changed the length of it. I guess you need to change the length of it first on this lower third. Clip 1. And again, these don't need to be in the same order as mine, but they do need to be labeled correctly. Overexposed. You could also say iris overexposed, but just overexposed is sufficient. So there's my clip. Ready to go. This is what it looks like. You do not have titles start before the clip starts. They usually start a little bit after the clip starts. Like you don't have your title over here. Okay, your title shouldn't start while your video is still fading in, while the transition's happening. It should start after your video is all the way up. Okay, then next we just do that. We repeat that step so that the titles are on all of them. Now you can choose any lower third you want, but listen to this but. If you're only half listening, please stop and listen wholeheartedly. Whatever lower third you choose, use the same one for every clip, because that creates a theme, that creates consistency in your video, and that's a good habit to have in video. It's a norm that you should do in videos. Okay? So whatever lower third you choose, use the exact same one for all 5 of your clips. Alright, I now drag my next lower third in. By default it's set to 4 seconds. I want to set it to 3 seconds. So I get it exactly to 3 seconds. Double click on it. I can now change the name. If your clips are in the same order as mine, this would be clip 2. And it would be underexposed. Move on to the next clip, click and drag my lower third onto it. Okay, it defaulted to 6 seconds for some reason, so I go over to the right and I drag it so that it's exactly 3 seconds long. Double click on the title, change the name to clip 3, and change the description to correct exposure. Now this, by the way, is 2 words. Correct exposure. Better make sure I don't have any typos, that'd be embarrassing. Underexposed, overexposed, correct exposure. Okay? And in titles, you typically, if it's a short title like this, you want to capitalize both words. Correct exposure. So there's clip 3. Let's do clip 4. Click and drag it on. Then adjust the length of our title so that it's exactly 3 seconds. Double click the title. Change the name to clip 4. Change the description to white balance. Correct. Click and drag the next title. Next lower third onto the last clip. Again, make this one 3 seconds. Double click on it. Change the name. Clip 5. And change the description to whatever it is. If you're in the same order as me, clip 5 is white balance. Incorrect. Incorrect is one word. White balance incorrect. Okay, so I'm now done with this step. So just to recap, before you move on to the next step, you need a lower third title identifying all 5 clips. The title should be clip 1 and then whatever it is. Overexposed, clip 2 underexposed, clip 3 correct exposure, clip 4 white balance correct, clip 5 white balance incorrect. For full points, you must have a title on each one. They must be a lower third. And they must be 3 seconds long. And they cannot have typos. You cannot spell things incorrectly. So make sure they're spelled correctly. Get the lower thirds on each clip. And then you're ready to move on to the next step.